Good morning. I'm Jaime Areizaga-Soto, and I'm running to represent the 31st District in the Senate of Virginia. First, let me congratulate you for the critical work that you do for the Democratic Party and for economic development in Virginia. Let me tell you a little bit about me. I'm an attorney. I serve as a JAG Lieutenant Colonel in the Army National Guard. I'm a former White House Fellow at the Treasury Department and a lifelong Democrat. The Obama administration appointed me to a senior post at USAID, a position from which I resigned to be a candidate to represent you in Richmond. I was born in Puerto Rico and raised in a family that values entrepreneurship, results, and public service. My mom, an elementary school teacher, and my dad, a veteran of the Korean War and a government economic development officer, instilled in me the twin values of education and service. The discussion at home was about education and jobs. Public service is a core family value, and I follow in my family's footsteps to serve our country in uniform as a citizen soldier. I fell in love with Virginia when I was here visiting my family in Fairfax over 30 years ago. Since, my heart has been in Northern Virginia for its progressive values, its diversity, our great history, diverse communities, and shared commitment to education, equality, and justice. Over the past 2 General Assembly sessions in Richmond, I served as policy advisor to Senator Mary Margaret Whipple, advising her on legislation and caucus-related matters. I know and have worked closely with every one of the 22 Democratic senators. We must have representation that will stand up to the extremism and demagoguery we see every day in Richmond. We have to have transportation solutions that make sense for Northern Virginia and a dedicated source to fund them. We cannot continue to be a leader in job creation and a leader in innovation if we don't invest in our community and we don't invest in our citizens. I believe everyone should have the opportunity for a world-class education, the opportunity to seek justice and have a voice and the opportunity to succeed and thrive. Some people think these values should not extend to everyone. I'm running for the state senate to fight the narrow-mindedness that threats progress. As your servant, you will have an advocate that understands a balance sheet and the bottom line, and that is fully aware of the government's ability to promote or hinder economic development. As an attorney, I work with private and public entities in developing infrastructure deals. I will bring that experience to the General Assembly. As a pillar of my work, I'll be promoting the international trade and investments. Our diverse and educated workforce, combined with the Lawless platform, provide great opportunities for economic development. I want to go to Richmond and fight for our democratic values. I will fight for a woman's right to choose. I will fight to legalize gay marriage. I will fight for the wounded warriors returning home. I will fight for our schools and for every child to have a brighter future. You have my word. Thank you for taking the time to listen to me. Our values are worth fighting for. Thank you. Favola.
Thank you for sponsoring this morning. I am running for the State Senate, 31st Senate District, for 2 reasons. First, I have a long career in local government. I served for 14 years on the county board, Arlington County Board, and I'm still serving on the county board. And I believe that the local perspective on how to get things done, how to deliver services, how to balance your tax rate with the quality of the services you're getting is something that is an important perspective to bring to Richmond. I also believe that Richmond, in many ways, needs to create an environment for us that is a little more progressive, a little more compassionate, and is willing to make investments in the right areas. What we've done in Arlington has been recognized nationally and internationally. Arlington, many of you know, has been applauded for its top quality schools, for its investment in infrastructure, both technology and transportation, for its investment in pedestrian enhancements. We've encouraged and now have obtained more office space than Boston or Los Angeles. We're only 26 square miles. It's this kind of mindset where we're looking at strategic investments and also how you connect land use and transportation decisions that have made Arlington a great place. And that mindset, I think, will serve us very well in Richmond. The things I will value when I go to Richmond, I believe we need to invest more in K through 12. I think we need to invest more in higher education. A specific example of an issue I accomplished on the county board was I advocated very strongly and convinced my colleagues to increase our per capita funding to the Northern Virginia Community College. The Northern Virginia Community College should not be in a position of having to turn away students. That is an entryway for a college degree, and our workforce development is one of the most important factors that you all need us to invest in. I also will work on transportation. Everybody knows we need a dedicated stream of funding. I do believe that transportation decisions should be linked with land use planning. I think we have to consider dollars not just for roads, but for metro. I will also work very hard in the area of the environment. I chair the Chesapeake Bay Committee, the Council of Governments Chesapeake Bay Committee, a number of other regional bodies I've been involved with, and I'm also the president-elect of the Virginia Association of Counties. So I have deep roots in this area. I've lived here 27 years. I've got 30 seconds left. I will conclude by saying I am proud that many of the Northern Virginia leaders that you all know and respect have also endorsed me. Senator Saslaw, Senator Whipple, Senator Howell, Sharon Bulova, David Poisson, and others. I hope I earn your endorsement and your vote. Thank you.
Okay, we have time for a few questions from this group. Any questions out there?
Yeah. What can be done in terms of state policies on education, that are more the administrative decisions but have huge impact, including SOL and the opening of school, we start our school season so late. Is there things that the legislature can do about that, or is it strictly an administrative decision?
Well, the state, as you know, sets many guidelines and parameters that the local governments have to meet in providing their educational programs. A couple of the things that have been an issue in Northern Virginia would be the dollars available to the school systems for special needs children or children needing English as second languages. Frequently, those dollars come to us based on a formula, and that's not helpful to this region. We're a very affluent region, but we do have a high number of children in those categories. So if those dollars came to us more in a block grant formula or a block grant approach, it would enable us to probably maximize the dollars better and serve more students. Now, the number of days in a school year, that's set by the General Assembly. We should, in my view, we should have some flexibility in what that school year looks like. There are some jurisdictions that have a large number of children on free and reduced lunch, and those jurisdictions have chosen to go 12 months for their school system with vacations here and there. So there are opportunities. I'm sorry, my time is up.
Well, I think the General Assembly should definitely show the leadership and take the action. That's one of the things that I look forward to going down. Two things. One, an example happened this year. A senator took the lead in obtaining a longer school year for his district. It was a tough fight, but he was able to get it. And in 2 counties, the school year will be longer. I will bring strong energy to the Democratic caucus and to the Senate to look for solutions and to use the Senate and the General Assembly to bring those solutions. One of them for me, I think, as I indicated before, our student body needs to be, this is a new world, this is a world that is much more international. And I do think that promoting foreign languages in education, especially at the elementary level and the middle school, it's critical. So that's one area where I think we will be able to lead the way in the General Assembly for the different school boards.
Another question?
Assuming we Democrats hold on to the Senate, which I think we will, what would be your priority committee in which you serve? The one in which you have a burning desire?
Well, based on my experience there the last 2 years, I have to tell you that the burning desire, although I also understand that it's probably shared by the other senators, is the Finance Committee. This is, as you all know, the bottom line. This is where the budget is developed. Having worked with Senator Whipple, having seen Senator Colgan and the other, the 15 members of the Senate Finance Committee, that is the critical decision of the session. Remember, we have a part-time General Assembly, and whether it's an 8-week session or a 6-week session, you're fighting to get that budget through. And that's where the choices, the tough choices about the funding, and in many cases the policy, is done. So I would really be honored not only to serve in the Senate, but I'll be ecstatic to be in the Senate Finance Committee working with business leaders like you to enact the critical priorities that we need for the state.
Well, Senate Finance Committee is a very glamorous committee, but I don't think a freshman senator will be assigned to it. I could be wrong, but I don't think that's going to happen. So I'm going to ask for committees that I believe I would have a chance of getting on, and I can actually hit the ground running. I would like to work on the education and welfare issues. I feel passionately, as I just talked about education, I do work at a university. Prior to running for office, I served for 15 years in the federal government in the Department of Health and Human Services, so I have a big background in the human services area. That's where I would start. I also am interested in the environment. So, there we go.
Okay, one more question.
Virginia, we have an attorney general and a legislature that decided to oppose health care reform, but we also have a state that's attempting to implement it. Talk a little bit about how we're going to get this implemented, how we're going to get health care reform implemented, and what you consider the important issues that the state can work on.
My turn. Well, I believe healthcare reform was necessary. I believe healthcare reform will ultimately serve us all better. I think there are baby steps we're going to have to keep taking until the state of Virginia actually comes to grips with the fact that providing health care for those who can't afford health care, don't have access to health care, or are not eligible for Medicaid is actually a very business-friendly thing to do. Having employees who can remain healthy is a good thing. But there are lots that we can do. The Medicaid is we're talking about expanding Medicaid both for eligibility and for the services provided. There has been a growth in clinics throughout the state. I have been very active in the Arlington Free Clinic in my county, but there are a number of clinics throughout the state that could be better funded. There's a much more emphasis now on primary care and preventive care, and if the state really funded those vehicles, I think we'd be able to reach more and more people and get better outcomes. So I'm looking forward to working on those issues. I sincerely believe that we will one day implement healthcare reform, and thank you for your question, Mike.
Well, I think every challenge is an opportunity. And the fact that we have the healthcare reform law and we're going to have to adjust our healthcare system is exactly the time to bring in the business opportunities that allows, and to adjust the system in a way that makes it better. So the first thing I see here is an opportunity for us to look at the changes and to work with those changes to make the system better. The second thing, you hit it right on. The Senate is the last bastion of democratic power in the Commonwealth of Virginia. We need a strong, progressive voice to represent us there for issues like healthcare and issues like our Attorney General. I am ready to fight the Cuccinelli agenda head on. And I look forward to that as an attorney, as a fighter, down there because he needs to be responded, and we have not done so. So I will do that when and if I have the honor of getting to Richmond and the Senate.
Thank you.
Thank you all.